What's up guys, my name is Andy. Do you find that you don't have enough leg clearance in the factory positions of these early Mustangs? Well, I made a new rail extension piece that will give you up to 2.5 inches of additional leg clearance without having to get new seats or drill new holes in your car. We'll just attach these to the rails on the bottom of your seats, good to go. So on these classic Mustangs, there just wasn't a lot of legroom, particularly for the drivers. It's not as big of a deal on the passenger side, but if you're tall like myself, you kind of find yourself, bunched up underneath the steering wheel and kind of too close to the dash. I had previously made a set of rail extensions for the driver's seat, but now I'm offering one on my website. And this is what I've got now. This rail extension bar gives you 2.5 inches of additional adjustment for your seat from where the stock bolts were, are to where the new bolts are. And then they're also recessed. And part of the reason why I did that is that when you add the height of this bar, which is 1/4 inch, plus the 1/4 inch of the nut that's going to be attached to the old bolts on the seat, it gives you a 1/2 inch of height, that raises the seat up. And some of us are pretty tall, and so we need more headroom. So by minimizing that, I bored this out, which it recesses where that jam nut's gonna go, and really it only makes it 1/4 inch higher, which is great for what we're doing. So let's remove the seat out of the car, and I'll show you how we're gonna install these seat rails on the bottom of the seats. And to remove these seats from the car, you have to do it from underneath the car. And what you need to do is pull these plugs out, and then there's a 1/2 inch nut up inside here on the stud, and you're gonna do that 4 times for all 4 corners of the seat. And once those 4 nuts are removed, you can just go ahead and pull the seat right out, and we'll go over and start working on the rails. So now that we got the seat ready to go, what I wanted to point out is see how this is kind of notched out on the back here? This is designed to clear this bracket. Now both bars are notched out, and that was purely just so that I had the same piece to kind of ease in manufacturing. You don't need it over here, but this bar will still fit over there, even though it's not, you don't need to clear that bracket. So all we got to do is put it on here. Now I do want to point out the studs need to go forward like so. And what this is going to do is this is going to scoot the seat back relative to where these studs were on the existing rails and give you an additional 2.5 inches of legroom back from the dash of the car. I also want to point out, see how these are bored out here? It'll easily clear the socket that you're going to use to sink these jam nuts down inside there. So we're going to take 2 of these and thread them on here, but I do want to point out you should put some sort of thread lock or Loctite like this on these nuts to secure these to the studs on the seats so they don't come undone from vibrations and stuff over time. And again, these jam nuts are included with the kit, so you don't have to worry about getting low profile nuts to secure these in place. You're going to want to torque these to about 14 pounds or so, just to make sure they're nice and secure. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now from here, this is kind of the part where you can't go backwards from this, other than you can replace these studs. If you ever wanted to go back, you can get new seat rails underneath here, but we do need to cut these studs off so they're not in the way of putting this in the car. Yeah, unfortunately I did hit the powder coat on there. That's not good, although you can touch that up with some black spray paint and that will at least protect the metal from underneath. So now this thing is good to go. I do want to point out, when you put that Loctite tough or whatever kind of thread locker you put on here, it may take up to a day for it to cure, so it's not a bad idea to maybe just let this sit here for a day, or put it in your car and let it sit there without, riding on it and stressing these bolts out, but just something to think about. I'm going to go ahead and get it back in the car and we'll get that installed. And this just goes back in the same way we took it out of the car. Just go ahead and put the bolts through the hole in the floor. And then we're going to secure it from underneath with those nuts that we took off earlier. Okay, let's go ahead and try this out. Oh yeah, much better. So guys, if you're tall like me and you need more leg clearance, why don't you head over to KruseBuilt.com and get yourself a set of these rail extensions for your classic Mustang, and you'll be good to go.